What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Today on this video we'll be doing this previous question paper that you see here. So this is a national certificate for mathematics N4, and this paper was written on the 29th July 2024, and it was an X paper, and the time was 9 o'clock to 12 o'clock. So basically this paper took 3 hours to be written. So on this video we're gonna only do question 1, and I'm gonna make sure that I leave the timestamps for each and every question within question 1, so that whenever you want to watch a specific question, you just click on that timestamp and you watch that question. Alright, so before I show you question 1, I'd just like to say thank you very much guys for watching, subscribing to the channel, commenting, and not forgetting those who like and share the videos. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to share the videos as well. Alright guys, let's go and check question 1. Alright, so this is our question 1. As you can see, question 1 has 4 questions here, but we want to start with this one here, which is 1.1. So I'm going to cut this question and paste it somewhere where we'll have enough space. Alright, so this is 1.1. So on this question here, they want us to draw a neat graph of y is equal to negative x to the power of 3. Just in case you didn't know, when you see the power of 3, basically this means that this is a cubic graph. Now, a cubic graph, it tends to have the x-intercept. Sometimes it doesn't intercept at all. So this one that we have here, it doesn't have x-intercept, and also it doesn't have the y-intercept because it doesn't have a constant. It also doesn't have the x coefficient. It doesn't have the x squared coefficient. It only has one coefficient, which is x cubed coefficient. Now, when it's like this graph here is not really that difficult to draw. It's very simple. First of all, you draw your Cartesian plane. Let's draw our Cartesian plane here. We have the x-axis and we have the y-axis, and we have the origin. So when the graph is like this, guys, when it doesn't have other values or variables, it gonna intercept at the origin. So basically this graph is gonna look like this. Passes at the origin and then goes like that. So this is our graph, simple as like that. So you name this graph here, y is equal to negative x cubed. Right, so when it's negative, it's gonna lie on the second quadrant and the fourth quadrant. If it was positive, maybe it was y is equal to x to the power of 3, it was gonna lie on the first quadrant and the third quadrant. So this is how you're supposed to draw this graph, guys. There's nothing to it. I hope you managed to draw it. There was not that much needed for you to draw this graph. Alright, just in case you haven't subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to share. If you have a question, do not forget to comment on the comment section. I'll help you to my level best. Now that we're done with 1.1, how about we look at 1.2? Right, let's look at question 1.2. So this here, guys, is 1.2. As you can see, they want us to draw a graph again, but let me just copy this question and paste it somewhere where we'll have space, and let us do it. So this is 1.2. They want us to draw a neat graph of an inverse of y is equal to x squared minus 4. So just in case you don't know what is an inverse, basically an inverse is the opposite of this graph that we see here. So it's not really that difficult to draw this graph. First of all, you need to know what the type of a graph is. This one, since we have x squared like that, this basically means this is our parabola. So in order for you to draw the inverse of the parabola, you need to know the coordinates of the parabola, then you swap them. So here's what I'm talking about. You need to find the intercepts, the turning points, in order for you to draw the graph. First of all, we can say when x is equal to 0, what is y? Basically, we're trying to find out the y-intercept. What is it when x is 0? So what you do here, you're just gonna substitute 0 where there is x in order for us to find y. From the original formula, we can just write y is equaling to, wherever there is x, we put 0 to the power of 2 minus 4. From here, we can say y is gonna be negative 4. So meaning we can call this point A, and then we know that when x is 0, y is negative 4. So this is the y-intercept. Now for x-intercept, we do the following. We say when y is equaling to 0, what is our x? Right. We're also gonna do similar to what we did here. Wherever there is y, we substitute with 0. Right, so let's do it. We take the original function there. So we say 0 is equaling to x squared minus 4. And then we're gonna have x squared is equaling to 4. We just transpose this negative 4 to the other side. It changes the sign, and then we square root both this. What you do on the left hand side must do on the right hand side. So x is gonna be equaling to plus or minus 2, meaning we're gonna have 2 points. We can say point B, which has positive x, y is 0, so it's gonna be 2, and then y is gonna be 0. So point C, which is gonna have negative 2 as x, and y is gonna be 0. So we have these two x-intercepts where y is 0. Now let's look at the turning point. Turning point, remember parabola, it should have some sort of turning point. If you are looking for x turning point value, the formula is negative b divided by 2a. So remember, b is the coefficient of x, so we don't have x here, we only have x squared and the constant. So basically this means that wherever there is b, we're gonna substitute with 0, and then we're gonna have 2, the coefficient of x squared, which is a, is gonna be 1, and then the answer here is gonna be 0. So we take this value of x, we substitute to the original in order for us to find the y value on the turning point. So we say y is equal to, wherever there is x, we substitute with 0, because our x here is 0, squared minus 4. So meaning when x is 0, y is going to be negative 4. Right, so we can call this point turning point. We know that when x is 0, y is going to be negative 4. If you can look at this point here, is the same as the y-intercept. So basically, this y-intercept is the same as the turning point. So there was no need for you to do this, but it's okay if you've done it. So let's continue. So when you draw your graph, let's draw our graph. This is not the inverse, by the way. This is actually the original graph. Right, so you have your x-axis and your y-axis and your origin. So don't forget point A, which is this one. Let's just call it point A. So on point A, we know that x is 0, but y is negative 4. So this point here, we can call it point A. And also it's the same as the turning point. Now it's time for us to find point B and C. So point B, we can say it's this side here, where we know that our x is going to be 2 and our y is 0. And then point C, we can say is this one here, where we know that our x is negative 2 and our y is 0. So from there, we just draw the graph. So let's draw the graph. So when you draw your graph is going to look like this. It's going to cut at that point and turn here and cut at that point, and it continues like that. Right? Doesn't look so good, but basically that's how our parabola is going to look like. Now guys, they don't want us to draw this one. This is the original. They want us to draw the inverse. So in order for you to able to draw the inverse, you're just going to use a different color for inverse. You only swap the values of the intercept. Let's start with A. So you swap the values of X and Y. So as for B is gonna be, I'm gonna write it here on top. B for inverse is gonna be 0 for X, and then it's gonna be 2 for Y. And then as for C, you swap as well. It's gonna be 0 for X, and it's gonna be -2 for Y. And then the turning point is gonna be -4 for X, and it's gonna be 0 for Y. Then from there you draw the inverse graph, your Cartesian plane. So just bear in mind this colorful Cartesian plane is for the inverse graph. Right, so let's look at our points there. Now let's start with A for the inverse. So we know that X is gonna be negative, so it's gonna be somewhere here where X is negative and Y is 0. So we can say this point here is -4 and 0. Right, and then what about the y-intercept? Because now these are no longer x-intercept, they are now y-intercept. When X is 0, Y is 2. So you can say this point here 0 and 2, and then the other one is going to be somewhere here when X is 0, Y is -2. Right, so from there what do? You connect the dots. There we go. There we go. There is your inverse graph. Guys, this is the actual graph that they wanted you guys to draw. So this here is the inverse graph. So you can just write inverse graph, right? You can write the inverse graph. So guys, I hope you managed to draw this. The original graph was not necessary for you to draw, but I drew it so that you can able to understand how exactly the original look like and how the inverse looks like. So just in case you didn't understand, do not forget to comment, or also go back to the point where you didn't understand, rewatch the video, and if that doesn't help you, comment, ask the question. I'll be able to answer to my level best. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to also share this video to your friends. Alright guys, we are done with 1.2. How about we do 1.3? Right, now let's look at 1.3. Okay, so 1.3, this is our 1.3 here guys. So also here they want us to draw a graph. So how about I copy this question, paste it somewhere where there is space, and solve it. Alright guys, let's look at 1.3. 1.3, we are given this question. They want us to draw a neat graph of x, y is equal to -4. When you look at this here, this is actually a hyperbola. So just in case you didn't know about hyperbolas, we have hyperbolas that shift. This one, fortunately enough, in fact, it doesn't shift. So all you have to do here is to make y several formula, and then we use the table method for us to draw this hyperbola. So let's make y several formula and draw the table, and then we start to draw our graph. So if you make y several the formula on this one, we're gonna have -4 over x. If you do the table, you will see that it's one of the simplest question ever. Alright guys, so we are done. So you don't have to put a lot of points here. Rather, I have 6 of them. In fact, 3, but let me show you what do I mean by that. Rather, I have -4, -2, and -1, and you continue with 1, 2, and +4. So when it's like this, it's fine. You don't really have to have more than this. What you have to do here is these values here, you're gonna substitute them here, and then whatever you get, this is gonna be y. For example, if we say x is -4, we're gonna say -4 divided by -4, you're gonna have +1. So your y is gonna be +1, and then you substitute now x when it's -2. It's -4 divided by -2, the answer is going to be positive 2. And then if you substitute x as negative 1, it's going to be negative 4 divided by negative 1. The answer is going to be 4. So y is going to be 4. So when x is 1, when you substitute with 1 here, this is going to give us negative 4. Y is going to be negative 4. If we say x is positive 2, we're going to say negative 4 divided by 2. This is going to give us negative 2. And when we say x is positive 4, we're going to substitute by positive 4 here. It's going to be negative 4 divided by positive 4. The answer is going to be. As you can see now, we have the coordinates for this graph here. So next thing is draw your Cartesian plane. Alright, so as you can see now, we have these values here. Now let's look at the first point. When x is negative 4, this is our negative 4. What is our y? So our y is going to be positive. So you draw a line wherever they intersect. This is going to be our point there. So when x is negative 2, this is negative 2. Our y is going to be positive 2. So you draw a line like that. Wherever they intersect, this is going to give us our point there. And when x is negative 1, yes, our y is going to be positive 1. Draw a line here, and then the line wherever they intersect, that is going to be your point. As you can see, this graph here is going to look like something like this. Remember guys, the hyperbola, it never intercepts at x, and also it never intercepts at y. It always asymptote unless it's shifting, but this one is not shifting. So this is your graph. You just need 3 points for you to draw this part here. So let's go to another part. When x is positive 1, our y is negative 4. So let's do this. So positive 1 is x, and our y is negative 4. When x is positive 2, our y is negative 2. So the point here is going to be here, guys. Right, and then when our x is positive 4, our y is going to be negative 1. So it's going to be somewhere there. Just like the other one as well, it's going to asymptote. It doesn't intersect with x, it doesn't intersect with y. So it's going to go like that. It's going to asymptote. There we go. So if I continue here, there we go. So this is our graph, guys. Basically, this is what you are supposed to do when you draw this graph. Use the table, guys, to draw this graph. So this is how you draw the hyperbola. I hope you managed to understand this. Really, it was not that difficult. All you needed to do is to draw the table. Just make sure that you have at least 6 values or 6 points, and then you draw 3 this side, you draw 3 on the other side. So when it's negative like that, remember this is actually k. When k is negative, it means it's going to happen on the 2nd quadrant and the 4th quadrant. Alright guys, I hope you understood. If you didn't understand, do not forget to go back to the point where you didn't understand. And also you can leave a comment on the comment section asking your question. I'll try to answer as best as I can. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel, and do not forget to share this video. Now that you're done with 1.3, how about we do 1.4? Right, 1.4, as you can see, this is 1.4. So they want us also to draw this graph. So I'm just going to copy this and paste it where there is a space, and let us solve this. Right, so let's look at 1.4. Again, they want us to draw a new graph of y is equal to plus or minus the square root of 16 minus x squared. Now this one here, guys, is basically 2 half circles or 2 semicircles. As you can see, this y, it means that these are the upper and the lower semicircles, and when you combine them, they're gonna give you a full circle. All right, so usually the formula is like this. The general formula is plus or minus the square root of r squared minus x squared. Now in this case, now you need to find out what is r. So r, which is the radius, we know that r squared is equal to 16. So if you square this and then you square that, r is gonna give you plus or minus 4. So meaning your graph is gonna be cutting and intercepting at a 4. Now since we have plus or minus, basically this means that your graph here, just draw the cutters in play, your graph is gonna be as follows. We have your y, you have your x, and your y, the origin. So meaning when it's positive, when it's like this, when it's y is equal to positive 16 minus x squared, it's gonna be cutting at 4 and intercepting at negative 4 and positive 4. So meaning when it's like that, is the semicircle for this upper graph here. Alright, but then the lower semicircle, which is gonna be like that, 16 minus x squared, is gonna be intersecting also at negative 4. So meaning this one is gonna be the lower semicircle. Let's continue to draw this. So basically you are supposed to just draw a circle which is intersecting at 4. Don't forget, this 4 is the radius, guys. The 4 is the radius. So I hope you managed to understand what is happening here, because really some people will get confused by this. I hope this didn't confuse you guys. So there was nothing challenging about this one. It was straightforward. It's just that they were trying to be tricky with this. So you know that the lower circle is the one with the negative, the upper circle is the one with the positive. But even if you draw a full circle that is intersecting, or that is the radius of 4, this was actually enough. I hope you guys understood this question. Just in case you didn't understand, you can go to the point where you got lost, rewatch that point, and also you can leave a comment if that doesn't help you. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, leave the like, and also share the video to your friends. Guys, this is the end of question 1. Thank you very much guys for watching. I'm going to do question 2 on the next video, so stay tuned if you really want to watch the whole question paper. Thank you very much guys for watching. Till next time.